What is the result of dividing x to the fourth minus x squared plus 8x plus 5 by x plus 3? I'm here with Chloe for her latest tips and tricks. She wants you to know that when you are doing synthetic division, you take the dividend divided by the divisor, and that always equals the quotient plus the remainder over that original divisor. The dividend, put all coefficients on the top row with zeros replacing any missing terms. Divisor, set it equal to 0 and solve. Put the solution in the top left corner. Quotient, the first term is always one less degree than the highest degree of the original dividend. Remainder, what is left after the constant in the quotient. Now that I have Chloe's tips and tricks, let's go ahead and find the result of dividing these two polynomials together. The first thing I noticed is that the first part here is my dividend. X to the fourth minus x squared plus 8x plus 5 is the dividend, and then the second part is the divisor, x plus 3. Now, the dividend in Chloe's tips and tricks, she says you put all coefficients on the top row with zeros replacing any missing terms. Well, what terms do I have missing? I have an x to the fourth, I have an x squared. I'm missing an x cubed. But I do have x to the first, and then I have just a constant. So I'm going to go ahead and write it out like this. Now, there is a coefficient of 1 in front of it, so I'm going to write 1x to the fourth. I don't have my x cubed, so I'm going to do add 0 times x cubed, because 0 times x cubed is 0, and so that would fit just perfectly back into the equation. Negative x squared is the same thing as negative 1x squared, plus 8x, well, that's the same as plus 8x to the first power, and then we have plus 5. Now I'm going to go through and see, do I have all terms now? I have to the fourth, to the third, to the second, to the first, and then to nothing. So I actually do have all of my terms now. What are the coefficients in front of those? It's 1, 0, negative 1, 8, and 5. So notice how, when Chloe let us know, you put zeros to replace any missing terms. That's why I have a 0 here, because there was no x cubed. So now that I have all of those, the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my divisor. Now my divisor is x plus 3, and Chloe let us know to set it equal to 0 and solve, and then put the solution in the top left corner. So I'm going to take x plus 3, set it equal to 0, and solve. So I subtract 3 from each side. 3's ends up canceling out over here on the left, and I get x equals negative 3. So my top row and my square. So the divisor goes in the top left corner. It's kind of like a half square or a box. So that's where I have the negative 3. Then the dividend, all those coefficients have to go on the top row. So I'm going to write 1, 0, negative 1, 8, and 5 across the top row. Then I'm going to leave a little bit of a space and then draw a line. Now, synthetic division, when you are doing this, it's a shortcut from doing polynomial long division. So there are some steps to help you along the way. First thing you do is you bring down your first coefficient. So I'm going to bring that down and I get a 1. Then you're going to take whatever is here on the bottom and multiply it by what's in the box. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3. That answer is going to go in the next, underneath the next coefficient. So the negative 3 goes there. 0 plus negative 3, that equals negative 3. Negative 3 times what's in the box, negative 3 equals positive 9. So we put positive 9 underneath the next coefficient. Then we add. Negative 1 plus 9 is a positive 8. 8 times negative 3 is a negative 24, and we put the negative 24 underneath the next coefficient. Then we keep going. 8 plus negative 24 is negative 16. Negative 16 times negative 3 equals positive 48. 5 plus 48 equals 53. Once you have completed all of this, you are done with the synthetic division. Now, if you look over here, the quotient is the first thing we're going to be looking at. Now, it says the first term is always one less degree than the highest degree of the dividend. Well, in our dividend, our highest degree was x to the fourth. That means our highest degree in the quotient will be x cubed. It'll be one less degree. So you start with one less degree and then you go down from there. So x cubed, the next one would be x squared, x to the first, and then x to the 0 power is really just a constant. So I write c for constant, and then whatever is remaining is actually your remainder. So I use an r to represent remainder. So I can go ahead and write this as 1x cubed minus 3x squared plus 8x to the first power minus 16 plus our 53 over our divisor of x plus 3. Remember, the remainder goes over the divisor. So my remainder is 53, my divisor was x plus 3. Now I can reduce this a little bit more. We don't really write 1 coefficients, and we don't write exponents of 1. So to smooth this up, I would just write x cubed minus 3x squared plus 8x minus 16 plus 53 over x plus 3.